Hello everyone, this is Kathleen and I am here to continue the project, the Junky Trashy project, and do the cover today. I showed the cover in the last video, or in a previous video. I have a couple projects going, if you remember, and so some of the videos may be overlapping and out of a series kind of order, but I'll try to keep things together in the description box with links and so on, so that you can follow along if you want. So this is the Trashy Journal, and we're doing a continuation of the cover. So I showed you the paper sack, and all I did was I glued it together. So there were two layers, and I cut it in the middle and folded it out and put lots of nice white glue, and then smoothed it and let it dry. And now, excuse my voice, now we're going to do the cover. And what I wanted to do is just create a mixed media background. And so that's what we're doing with these strips, just torn strips. And you'll also remember, did you hear this? I have chosen this book, this encyclopedia kind of, as my unifying elements kind of throughout the book. So we're going to use those first of all on the cover, and then that will begin to unify the inside pages as well. So I just ripped strips from some of the pages. I have a couple of magazine pages as well. This happened to be a cow, and then this is just some kind of an ad, but I liked this color. It kind of went with the rest of them. The cow introduced, some brown in there, and then of course I have some music strips because that's always nice. And so what I did was I just ripped the strips, and then I had used this matte gel medium and as glue, and then I have just pasted the strips down. So I already did that because honestly I didn't think you'd want to watch me glue and paste. So you can see there's a couple of strips of just scraps from my my cutoff tray, and so those are kind of on here too, just to add some color. I've tried to get the same kinds of colors in here. So you can see there's part of the magazine ad. It doesn't really matter, that's going to get kind of covered up a little bit. So let me get some of this trash out of the way, and then we'll continue this project. So I'll let you know now. What we're going to do is we're going to take some gesso and just a little bit of a, so I recycle the used foil from my kitchen. When I bake something and have foil on it, I keep that and just put that in little piles like this, because then I can recycle that this way. All right, so I'm just going to take a brush and do put some gesso on here, and that's going to create kind of another base. It's not going to cover it up completely because I'm going to take a baby wipe here in a minute and kind of smooth it, but it is going to create. And here you can notice that I have left kind of the edges because I wanted a smooth edge, so I've left that with the gesso is going to create a kind of a base for the dies and stains in a minute. So now I'm just going to take my baby wipe and just kind of smooth that again. This kind of created some white, but we're gonna stain it vintage. And so when I want the design to come out again a little bit, then I take this baby wipe and clean the gesso off a little. And in some of the other areas, then I'll leave it, but just add some depth and texture to the final cover and makes it unified again. All right, so we're gonna let that dry. Sorry for the noise. Honestly, I know that's annoying. I just want to get that a little bit dry. All right, now so I'm going to wrap my brush in this baby wipe so that I can clean it later and don't have to stop. Okay, so now we're going to do some staining. First of all, I will start with, actually the first thing I'm going to do is trim so that I can tell where the edges are. So if you want to experiment with this, what I'm going to demonstrate today, it would be really easy to make just a little masterboard, honestly, with a paper sack. So you can do that. Even just one layer. You don't have to make it thick like a cover, but one layer of paper bag, and then just glue some strips down, and then, or you could just even do smaller and make a tag or a pocket, something. It's kind of fun and really pretty easy, so very accessible. All right, so here's this. We're gonna do some staining now along the edge for sure, because I want this to be a vintage project. You don't have to make it vintage, you know, it could be, definitely be a bright, kind of happy, but I just did my 60s journal and I'm just kind of ready for something else. Let me just kind of do this along the fold. So that looks pretty good already, right? I think. Anyway, but we're going to do some other little things. I am going to do a little bit of brayer work here. So I'm just going to take some off-white paint and take my brayer, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of a darker color on there. Alright. And now I'm going to take this, it's just like a spray color, and give that a spritz. And I tend to want that to like run a little bit, so I'm going to spray it with some water. That's another thing that the gesso And the matte medium does is it creates a surface that allows you to build on top of it. And the media, you know, does some different things. You can make some sprays with acrylic paint and water, or watercolors and water. And that's just going to give me a little bit of a colored kind of background. And dry that. You'll probably want to speed me up during this part, right? And let that run. Okay, now we're going to do some black splatter again, because I like that. We're also going to make a mark. Let's do the splatter first. You want, you know, just a little bit of a fluid. All right, good. All right. And let me dry that. Sorry about this drying time. I know that, you know, it's annoying, and if I knew how to edit it, I would, but I don't know. I don't know how to do that, and, you know, until I can learn, then all I can do is tell you to speed it up or skip ahead to the next part. A lot of people, you know, want their watch time, but I'm not concerned about that. I'm not interested so much in getting paid by YouTube, so it's okay. You know, if you don't watch all of it, just take what's useful for you, and, you know, that's what I just want to share, you know, what I'm doing, and if it helps, you know, someone, that's good. So that is going to blob later if I'm not careful. so I want to get that dried before I move on. All right, it's going to blob, I think. So let me need another. Oh, good, good. That makes me happy. We can move on here. Okay. So then the next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of this even darker paint, and just a little bit, and we're going to do some sponge. Oh, for heaven's sakes, where is it? There it is. All right. So the sponge needs to be just a little bit damp, not wet, but I want it damp. This is a sea sponge, and we're just gonna do and just make some other little marks on here. On this background. Okay. I tend to go through a lot of baby wipes when I do this kind of thing. So I buy the cheapest ones that I can find, which is usually like big cases of them at Costco, something like that, because that's how they're cheapest. But you can get a smaller bunch, you know, in the dollar store. Okay, that's good. Now let's give that a little bit of a shot. That's going to dry quicker because it's a thinner layer of paint. All right, now I'm going to take the distress and just cover up kind of that white gesso and make it, you know, more brown, more vintage. Okay, that's coming along. All right, now for the fun part. Let's get out my texture paste. Oh, that is not the right paste. That's grit paste. Here's crackle paste. That might be interesting. And matte texture paste. That's what I want. All right. Oh, that would be pretty. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, yeah, I think we're going to use that. Yep. Because that color just matches so well. Here we go. So I need that, and I need my little credit card thing. All right, and this is the stencil that we're using, just this design, very 50s-ish, and that's kind of, you know, these illustrations from the encyclopedia, it's very 50s kind of mood to it. So that's kind of what we're doing. And I'm going to put a strip of texture paste just kind of along the middle, maybe toward the top. I do want to, in the end, I want to use like one of these metal book plates on this cover. So, you know, one of them, maybe that one, maybe that one, maybe that one. So I want this strip. Do I want it above or on top of it? I think I'll put it, I think I'll use that one. And I think I'll put it kind of across a little bit up. Okay, so that's where we're going to start. And it's always nicer, you know, if the stencil is colored and then you can see it. And I need a knife to dig this out. So we're just going to dig out some texture paste and kind of smear it on there. And take the card. Right, and then we'll move it up and over. Now we have to turn it because this, yeah. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you can make it perfect, but I often don't. I often just kind of smear it and let it, you know, be what it's going to be. How did I get, there we go. Just kind of make a line kind of coming down here. And like I say, this is not perfect, but you know, it's all right. There's some smears in between, you know, and you can make it as rough or as perfect as you want. But I love texture paste. I think it is just the coolest thing out there. You have to be a little careful though, because it doesn't clean up well. All right, there we go. So then this will, you know, go kind of about right there, I think. Yeah. All right, so let me wrap this up. Again, just so that I don't have to have a lot of water sitting around, because that can spill. So what I do is wrap things in a baby wipe or a damp, you know, a damp cloth, some kind, and then that way it stays damp until I can, you know, clean it in the sink. Because, okay, another one. That's what I'm saying. I go through a lot of them, but the paste needs to come up pretty fast because, it dries and then that's a problem. Okay, now we have one more step. This is going to make this look pretty cool. So let me dry this. Again, just skip ahead. Okay, now I'm going to take this spray and spray that again and put a little water on it so that it'll run. All right, you can also do this kind of thing with let me move those out of the way, with watercolor. So here's a brush. Oh, my brush is falling underneath there. Okay, so here's some water up here, and we'll just get some watercolor, and you can do the same thing. You can kind of just put some paint and then spray it and let it run. Let's do a little bit of pink. Okay, and I think I want a little bit of that funny orange color that's also going to be, you know, in the, oh, that's not very orange. All right, let's get this to dry. right, now I'm going to go back over it now that it's been sprayed and, oh my word, you know, plenty of stuff done to it. I'm going to put some more distress around the edges and darken it up a little bit. Okay, that's going to be all for this. I'm pretty happy with the way that turned out. So there's the fold. So that'll be the front, and we'll put this book plate on it, and that's the back. Love the way the back looks. It's going to be plain, so I'm really happy that that turned out so well. Yeah, so that's the cover for this project. Thanks for spending time with me, and we'll see you next time for the next stage. Thanks.